Hey guys, what is up? It's Dusty here, and welcome back to another crypto video. And my question of today is, how long do you think the bull market will last? Or in other words, when do you think that things will turn really freaking ugly and that we're too late with selling our coins? Let me know in the comment section down below. I still think we're quite early into all of this, and I'm still extremely excited, and I'm thinking of giving away even more XRP or some more money, but of course, I gotta kind of find my balance, right? Because every 100 XRP I'm giving away is ultimately gonna be thousands of dollars, hopefully. So right now, it's possible because it's only maybe like 50 or so, but eventually, ooh, if I'm giving away $1,000, like snap, that's going to be really freaking heavy. And it's going to be a burden. It's going to be like buying burgers, right? Or I'm going to just really hate myself kind of for it. But no, of course not. Because I'm hopefully making somebody really happy. Unless he just gets the XRP and sells it. That would not really be too nice. Having said that, just let me know in the comments down below when you think this is all going to be over. And also, on a side note, Bitcoin still following the idea perfectly fine. And hopefully you watched the previous video because, man, we got to talk about this. XRP lawsuit update. Ripple gets its motion to seal approved. Yes. Ripple has been fighting the lawsuit filed by the United States SEC for a while now. However, the regulatory body has been digging deep into the personal information of its executives. Ripple met with the SEC lawyers on April 1st to request they keep their documents out of the public's eye, which was really freaking strange, really crazy. And by the way, whenever I'm saying yes, whenever I'm saying, oh, this does not necessarily mean this is really positive for us. This means it's most likely beneficial for the lawsuit for Ripple specifically, which hopefully ultimately is XRP 2, because some of the stuff we're going to be discussing here might not actually be really nice for us as the public. Interestingly, the latest development suggests that Ripple has been granted permission to partly redact its documents containing private commercial information. The SEC and Ripple have reached an agreement, and lawyer James K. Filan provided the documents for the same Filan noted, let me quickly see here, right? Let's quickly open this document up so we can quickly go read it. SEC v. Ripple, XP Community, Ripple's letter regarding motion to seal with proposed redacted Exhibits 1 and 2 filed this evening. Exhibits 1 and 2 down below here. There's a lot of people saying, can you imagine your own government trying to ruin possibly the most important tech and innovation ever created? Talk about self-inflicted harm. Maybe the SEC works for, some parties like that. DOI says, I don't think you can be more bullish on XP than I am. The king is here. It's just different tweets like that. However, this really didn't get too much attention. Why? Well, I don't really understand why, honestly. I just personally think it's really odd that there's a big discussion going on between the SEC and Ripple right now, because the way that I'm getting everything like this is the SEC is basically jabbing Ripple saying, okay, so you want to have transparency, right? So make all your files public, make everything public then. And Ripple's like, well, let's just make the files that are necessary public. But however, the SEC is like, well, but we don't want to make any files public. So that kind of sounds strange to you, and most likely it sounds kind of strange to me. It's because the SEC has been firing back at Ripple for not, or at least for trying to hide documents, where Ripple is saying, well, you are hiding documents. So make those public and seal some of the documents that are not relevant because, well, why make all our company insides public like that? However, if we're talking about some real details inside, I'm not going to know, all right? Because once more, I'm just a random guy on the internet. I'm not a lawyer, not a financial advisor, not a freaking tax lawyer advisor, whatever. I'm just finding stuff, but it says here that the document as a whole is strategic in nature, constitutes a roadmap to the company's then contemplated business strategy, and contains sensitive business information that the parties reasonably wish to remain confidential. And yeah, from really Ripple's perspective, I would personally get that as a company, especially a for-profit company, you don't want all your strategies or prior strategies to be open to the public. I really get that. If there's a document related to XRP that the public should know about, logically, I would want it to be open because what we want to know. However, if this document, for example, just a really quick example, would be a strategy on how to work with Bank of America, to work it out properly, and they have some really big strategy guide for that, I really understand that they cannot make that public. So it's not really strange to want to seal that type of stuff and not make every single document regarding XRP public. However, I believe the SEC should make all their documents public. Why? Well, because they are not a for-profit company, depending on how you see the United States, government bodies. Maybe you see it as a for-profit company, maybe the biggest one of all. That's all up to you. The SEC, theoretically speaking, should be acting out of our protection and trying to help us out by making clear rules and making clear kind of rule books for everything. So by hiding documents, they're not really doing anything except for hiding their opinion. But why would they want to hide them? Because we have to know their opinion to know what we should be thinking, theoretically speaking. If they think about something negatively, we should know, so we might get the same type of idea to also think about something negatively. If they think about something positively, it's not really strange that we want to know of why they thought about that positively, so we can replicate that and know our own situation better and know how to invest better to be safe, basically. That's just my thoughts, though. So I don't think this is a really bad thing. I think this is a really good thing in the end because they're just trying to hide what's rightfully hidden. And I think the SEC is just trying to throw jabs at them to make sure they're put into a negative daylight. Because that's really what we've been seeing for the last couple of days, that the SEC is trying to make them look bad. They've really gone after Ripple, Brett Garlinghouse and Chris Larson specifically to make them look bad. We all saw it before. They most likely took on too much hate on their freaking fork. It's a big fork, by the way. But yeah, it's all a little bit too late now. Hopefully we'll see a partial settlement, which could be really bullish for XRP. But the more I keep on reading, the more that's coming out, the more bullish I am on all of this, guys, because I personally still do not believe that in the end, Ripple can lose too much on the XRP front. Can Ripple get a fine? Oh, yes, because the SEC doesn't want to go off, it doesn't want to let them go scotch-free. But will XRP really be deemed a security? I still see it as such a small percentage that I could almost bet my house on XRP, but that's, again, my thoughts. Having said that, by the way, there was one guy who won 20 XRP. Let me quickly announce for if you haven't seen it yet. Zwang Pum, if that's how you pronounce that. I asked in this previous video, put a funny comment down, right? And there were a couple of people who were saying, you have a nice script for blocking negative feedback. I don't exactly know how that one works. But here, somebody said, should get some tacos at Jet's taco stand. I heard it's pretty good. I just really had a good laugh. So, in my opinion, this is definitely worth my 20 XRP. So if you're watching this, come send me a message on here. You'll get your 20 XRP. It's not a lot, some people might think, but I think it's still definitely worth it as it's still maybe $15 or so. So it's a nice thing to give away. And also, we all give away, I gave away $1,000 worth of Prime XBT, right? By the way, this is the platform I'm trading on if you're wondering about it. So definitely go check it out. It's worth it. And I still have a couple more codes to give away of $100. However, I contact people every couple of days or so. So I do, for example, I contact a couple people, then I wait a couple days and I'll do another batch, right? This person took a little bit too long to respond because I was already done. I was doing everything in like 30 minutes or so. And then I was kind of, maybe I went to eat or something like that. He says, hey, I just made the account today because I asked. He says, thanks for showing me that I won and then ghosting me a couple of days later. I'm like, well, I was going to give it to you. I just really didn't get to it just quite yet. He has, however, blocked me, and thus, I'm not trying to, throw shade. I'm just saying there's a $100 code. All you have to do is make an account here and say, hey, I made an account, and we'll pick you because, well, I don't think he's going to pick up his code. So that is that. Then, Will moves one, by the way, for him maybe commenting, I deleted one message here because it contained his email. And of course, I don't want to make him look bad in that sense or show his email in a video. I'm not that type of guy. Will moves $1.3 billion to DeFi after Ethereum sets new all-time high. A mysterious Will transferred 630,000 Ethereum to DeFi lending protocol Compound shortly after Ethereum set its latest all-time high. And you know what I'm thinking when they do this type of stuff? 1.3 billion is either these are big guys that are in the network here, basically, trying to transfer money because they're funding something or because they got some new partnership arranged, so they want to make some new project like that. I don't know. Because $1.3 billion is definitely not nothing. In a different sense, I sometimes also like to think that these are just really big guys. For example, a really big company who has a direct link to Compound, for example, in the real life. They went over there, they flew there, they had a contract, they just signed freaking hands with each other, you know what I mean? Like they really went to shake hands. Because, well, investing $1 billion, if they really invested it, it's going to really make them a ton of money too, right? So from that perspective, if you're doing something like that, you're earning a freaking ton of money. You're earning a ton of money. So from that perspective, yeah, maybe they're working on something like that. I just thought it was interesting to kind of think about that. Like, what would they be doing? Is it like a kind of an agreement? Is it the protocol itself? Who else could this be? Because it's such a huge amount of Ethereum that you kind of wonder about what exactly could be happening. Let's quickly see if somebody actually commented. Since this is the start of the crypto bull, all I wish is that some whales make a mistake and show those to my crypto account. I swear I'll get back up to 50%. What would you do, by the way? Let's say I, for example, were to send you $1,000. No, let's go for $100,000 by accident. Would you send it all back? Would you send a part back, or would you keep it all? Because, hey, finders keepers, and I'm never going to be able to pull it back, so you can just live freely and nobody would know that you took it. What would you do? I've asked myself this question and I'm not quite sure. Sometimes I'm thinking, you know what, I'll send everything back. But then I'm thinking maybe I should just send 50% back because, well, he sent me the money. Otherwise, he would have gotten nothing. And I'm a good guy for sending at least half the money back, right? But that's always like, what do you think about your life? What do you think is worth it? And I think it's also going to depend on the money. Because if it's going to be $5, I probably would not notice that he actually sent it to me. Or I would most likely just be like, somebody just donated this or something like that. If it's 500,000 though, things differ a little bit. Because I'm also not sure how he would tax that properly. It's a little bit of a strange one since he made a mistake. It's like finding $500,000 cash. What do you do then? Then central bank poised to launch retail CBDC. The Bank of Thailand is scheduled to launch the retail central bank digital currency by the second quarter next year, allowing Thais to access more convenient and secure financial services. The reason I'm saying this, or the reason I'm covering it, is because CBDCs will be getting bigger, and a lot of people I think have forgotten how XRP is going to be the middle of all these CBDC transfers in the near future. Don't forget that's a good part of what we're into XRP for, and that's a good reason as to why it cannot fail. It's going to be the middle of cross-border payments that have to do with, cross-border payments in general have to do with CBDCs or just fiat. It doesn't really matter. XRP is going to be the middle of everything. And even though it might take a couple of years to really roll out fully, we have time. I'm not really in a really big hurry. I know eventually it will come together. And so let's wait for it because, well, once more, we'll be really happy once it does. Then, a word of advice to newcomers: never ever follow some YouTube or Twitter crypto guru who promises returns if you follow their buy signals, especially not if it's a paid one. Why would they do this if they can make millions on their own calls? They lie. Bitcoin. I just wanted to say two things. One, he is partially correct. If somebody like I even am saying, go buy this, go buy that, don't listen because we're not financial advisors. So it's definitely not a smart thing to do because you can lose money. That's something you should really know like that straight at the bat. Second thing is, you might be thinking that we're telling you this to make money on you. That's 99% of the time not the case either, right? Because some people say, you're telling people to buy so you can sell your bags. Definitely not. Definitely not. However, if it's a paid one, is it really a bad thing to purchase? I'm going to say not necessarily, because let's say you had a group, right? Or you were good at calling things out. If you have a good trading strategy, let's say you have $1 million and per trade you're risking $10,000, maybe 1% of your portfolio. And on that one, you're getting 3% profit or a 1% loss, for example, or 3% profit, 3% loss. If you really start to calculate that, that's really a lot of money, but also not because, well, this is maybe your strategy that you're going for. It really is just about the idea of what you're doing per trade and whatnot. It could be that if there's 1,000 people in there, it's a different source of income, which a lot of these guys want to have. And it's also guaranteed income where you're good with your calls, but you'll most likely make less because you just do not have a lot of money, but you have the right calls. You might say, but if you're so certain, then you would go with a lot of leverage and you'd be fine. You might say so, but it's still always a risky game. I've definitely been in a lot of groups that made a lot of money. And you could say, well, they didn't have to sell it because they would have been rich. Some of these guys are rich. Some of these guys most likely have maybe hundreds of millions or at least tens of millions. They still sell that stuff anyway for maybe in total $50,000 a month, purely either for fun, because they want to have a community of traders, because they want to have, there's a lot of different reasons why people do it. Some people most likely do not even trade themselves and sell something. Yes, but not all of them. And it's not always because they just lie to you or because they cannot trade themselves or something like that. A lot of them still do. All right, so that's a little bit of a thing to say there. A lot of people are trying to scam me, by the way, in the comment section saying, I follow these calls, blah, 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 blah. It's most likely going to be fake, but there are quite a lot of guys who do it for free or do it for paid who actually know what they're talking about. But it's still always a risk trading because, well, that guy might actually not be profitable in the end of things. That could also be the case. Even if he is giving his advice away that works 50% of the time, he might actually have wrong risk management and, for example, still lose money or stuff like that. It's just, there's a lot of reasons why it cannot work properly or why this whole service is worth it for him, even though he is making money with trading. But that's just a little side note, right? That it might sometimes not be for the reason that you're thinking. You can probably think of a couple reasons yourself. These guys might also just, want to have some bond with other people. It could be so many different things. JP Morgan adjusts its Bitcoin price prediction to $130,000. If you really believe JP Morgan with your price predictions and stuff like that, I think you should definitely, get your head fixed maybe. Because these guys make no sense. They're all over the place. $140,000 then it's about $40,000. Then you'll say Bitcoin is never going above $40,000. Screw these guys, man. Banks, crypto, no. I see these two things as really separate entities. But that was it for today. Hopefully you all enjoyed it. If you did, make sure you press the like button and subscribe. And I will definitely see you guys again in another crypto video. So yeah, take care.